the young riders have taken over. Alex Zula on Sunday, Richard Vironk on Monday, and yesterday Pascal Lino. Who next? The team time trial underway in this year's Tour de France. Hello and welcome back to the route of the Tour. We're in the town of Le Born this morning, about 30 kilometres to the northeast of Bordeaux. That was the Ariostia team leaving, and all 22 teams setting off, separated by 5 minutes. Now, the Tour de France over the years, with the team time trial playing an integral part, means that the teams must be strong in depth. And it's a chance now for teams like the Z team with Greg LeMond and the Banesto team of Miguel Indurain to claim time back on the dominant team thus far. That's the RMO team, because they've got their top 2 riders first and second overall in the individual classification. You see, today, although it's a team race, the times recorded also go to the individual classification. So even though you might be the team leader and potentially the strongest rider on the team, today you really are only as strong as your weaker team members. Here's Paul Sherwin to explain the composition of the teams in this year's Tour de France.
All professional teams are made up of a hierarchy. Take Greg LeMond's Z team, for example. LeMond is the undisputed leader of the pack, and the rest will sacrifice themselves for his cause. But to be a success, the team must be made up of a very special mix of riders. The climbers, such as Eric Boyer and Thierry Claverola, are there to protect and work for the leader in the big mountains. But if LeMond were to have a problem, such as illness or injury, then either of these two could take over his protected position for a top finish in Paris. In the fast bunch finishes, Jean-Claude Colotti, the team sprinter, will be a little freer than the rest of the domestiques. He will try and win an individual stage for the team, which is a great boost for morale. Finally, the domestiques will be there to protect LeMond on all the stages leading to the mountains. They will look out for any problems, and in such an event, they'll pace him back into the race. They may even have to give up their bicycles for him, as well as keeping him topped up with food and drink. A fine example of the way they can work together is the team time trial. Here we watch Greg LeMond in last year's event wearing the leader's yellow jersey. He's taking his turn at setting the pace at the front of the line. He'll ride at the front, pushing the pace for around 200 meters. Once he's done his turn, he will swing off, slowly drift to the back of the line and take up a position in the slipstream of his teammates, allowing himself a short time to recuperate. Then each one of his colleagues will do the same, taking a turn at pushing the pace before dropping back into the shelter of the line. This constant pushing of the pace by riders over a short distance will keep the speed up above 50 kilometers an hour.
But before we go to the team time trial action today, let's have a look at the overall situation this morning. Pascal Lino in the yellow jersey by 1 minute 54 seconds from his teammate, Richard Vironk, both members of the RMO squad, of course. In third place, Miguel Indurain, a massive 6 minutes 28 seconds back. Gianni Bugno is in fourth place. Of the other big names in the Tour, Claudio Chiappucci lies 7th, Eric Breukink is 8th, Greg LeMond is 10th, and Stephen Roach, riding well this year, is up there in 12th place. So that's the overall situation, and this is the route they face. As you can see, there's no real difficulties as regards climbs. It's a long way, though, for a time race, 63.5 kilometres. There'll be 2 time checks along the route, and today, time will be of the essence. Well, this is the Carrera team, and on this team we have their man for the top contenders, and that's Claudio Chiappucci, the King of the Mountains last year, 2nd and 3rd in his last 2 Tours de France. There he is now, starting at the back of the team as he rolls off, and all 9 riders, Paul, quickly into their rhythm.
Quickly into the rhythm. I'm glad to see 9 riders, because Stephen Roach is obviously taking the depart this year. This was an event last year where we saw Roach turn up a little bit late, but he said this morning he was going to be very careful not to repeat that performance of last year. But Roach is a different man this year. I think he's totally psyched. He feels a lot better physically and mentally, and he's really got the urge to fight again.
This is the switch to the Once team here. There's the time they've got to beat, 1 hour, 14 minutes and 34 seconds. That's been established by the Tulip team, 2nd team to start today. They actually caught the Belgian Lotto team almost on the line. And the Once team are on a very good time. They have been actually through the checkpoints with the best time. At 19 kilometers, they were reported to be going 9 seconds better than the American Motorola team. Now, remember, the clock will stop on the 5th rider in the line, and that's what we should look for. Their time to beat, 1:14.34. They're going to do that, so the Once team are regaining their strength. They were the top team 1 year ago in the world of cycling. They've won a team time trial this year. Now, they're establishing themselves on the leaderboard with all of the top teams in this year's Tour de France still to come home. And they're going to make it, Paul, so they'll be very pleased with this. Alex Zula, don't forget, is on this team. He'll have contributed a lot to that time. 1 hour, 14 minutes and 2 seconds for Once. Look at that average speed, 51.463 kilometers an hour, and that's about 32.5 miles an hour. Gatorade, a team that I think might do a good ride today. It'll give us a good indication as to just how well the man in the white jersey here, the world champion Gianni Bugno, really is going in these opening days of the Tour de France. He's attacked on the mountain climbs. He's put everybody under pressure. The two men who seem to be able to master him at the moment, Claudio Chiappucci and Miguel Indurain, but on both times he has attacked, he has placed Greg LeMond in difficulty. Now, in the team time trial, a chance to gain time on everybody.
Definitely, this is a team that's actually been built specifically for the Tour de France this year. The only reason that Gianni Bugno has been racing this year is for this event, and now he has to come up with the goods. He's got some very strong riders in there to help him as well. Dirk de Wolf, the winner of Liège-Bastogne-Liège earlier this year, was brought into the team specifically just to help him in the Tour de France.
A chance to view the RMO team. Just outside, about 23 kilometers covered for them here, the yellow jersey of Pascal Lino. And the team, although riding very well, Paul, at the checkpoint, and all the teams are now through at 19 kilometers, Carrera have got the best time there, 22 minutes and 26 seconds. 7 seconds better than the Once team. They finished, don't forget, with the best time thus far. Panasonic, once the kings of team time trialing, they're third, 9 seconds off the pace. And Motorola are in 4th place, 16 seconds down. But the significant thing is that in the top 6 teams, RMO don't feature.
Well, I'm quite sure it's the fact that they have that handicap. They're one rider short on the rest. We noticed Ariostia, the winners of the event last year, came in with a time off the leaderboard. They were a man down as well. And I think because of the severity of this course, the up and down nature, having to keep accelerating all the time up and down these little climbs, I think that is what's going to affect the RMO team at the end of the day. It's confirmation of the first time check at 19 kilometers.
Well, this is the 41.5 kilometer timing point for Benesto. And so we'll get to know very shortly exactly what they've done as they've gone through. We've still got 4 teams behind them, starting at 5-minute intervals, including the team who set the best time at 19 kilometers, Carrera. And this is a big disadvantage for Benesto, Paul, because they don't know what the teams behind are setting.
It's very difficult for them to know that, but at least they've got the advantage of knowing Gatorade started in front of them. They'll get the time of Gatorade, who've gone through the 41 kilometer mark with the best time at the moment, so they'll have an idea how much more they've got to push each other.
And here come Motorola up towards the line now. The best time, 1:14.02. It's going to be desperately close here. Motorola were second to Once when they went through the 19 kilometer point. They were just a few seconds off the pace there, 9 to be precise. They may have had a better second half because this team is knitting together very, very well indeed this year now. And this is a good ride towards the finish and a final big effort by Steve Bauer as he brings them home. And it's going to be close, Paul. 1:14.02 is the Once time. They're home, we're 200 meters out. It's going to be desperately close. I think they'll be just into second place here. Bauer moves off nicely as big Sean Yates comes through and tries to bring them home. It's going to be almost the same time, second time, and just by a single second. And that looks like the familiar head-down action of Greg LeMond, a beautiful streamlined study as he spearheads the Z team now. I think, in fact, not all of the riders in that team are working together. Here's the long, thin line of them. Number 53 hanging on now quite literally at the back. He's Tilly Claverola. He's been there for a little while, so I think he's now become a passenger. It's what cyclists tend to call the ticket collector. when they're the last man in a straight line and he hasn't got the strength to go through that line and help at the front. So he sits at the back and just takes the tickets.
You just hang there and try and recuperate a little bit. Maybe try and help towards the end if you can recuperate just that little bit, just to give that last little bit of energy for his leader there. Number 51 is Lamond. You can see him getting out of the saddle, accelerating to get back onto the rear of the line there. Clavirola staying behind because he just hasn't got the strength left to come through anymore.
But now we are watching the Gatorade team coming in. They were setting the best time when they went through the checkpoints. Now, will it be the best time at the moment at the finishing line? This, remember, is the team of Gianni Bugno and Laurent Fignon to the right of our picture. He's put more than his weight behind this one today. And Bugno making sure he gets the most out of this because he's going to drive them up towards the line. Once 1:14.02. It's going to be the best time for the Italian team. Gianni Bugno has not lost time in this Tour de France, and in a few moments we will know whether he's actually gained time, because Bugno brings his team home. There's plenty of them in this formation. The best time, 1:13.36, and Fignon looks at his watch and thinks that'll do nicely. The top teams are still to finish. We'll take a break.
Welcome back. Now, one of the privations of being a professional cyclist is riding through some of the best wine country in the world, which of course it is here around Bordeaux, and knowing that you can't crack open a bottle at the end of a long, hard ride. But there are other cyclists on the roads here around Libourne this month, and they have different priorities. Like thousands of cyclists every year, these Americans have come to France to pay their respects to all the great names. Hinault, Anquetil, Lafitte, Mouton Rothschild, and today Cheval Blanc. Now let me get this right, is this a cycling tour or a drinking tour?
All the above. And eating. I mean, you don't want to leave that out, do you?
As holidays go, this one is not so much packaged as bottled. A gentle roll around the Bordeaux region with 2 stops a day to talk and taste at some of the finest chateaux in the world. The French, who love to talk about wine almost as much as drinking it, welcome them with open cellars.
So what's your verdict?
Oh, it's wonderful. But then, to be honest with you, I've never tasted a Cheval Blanc. It wasn't wonderful.
So how many miles are you doing a day?
We were told originally 20 to 30 kilometers, which slowly grew to 30, 50 miles a day. Our first day was 37 miles.
For Gallon, those are pretty good mileage figures. But this trip is not just about consumption. And at Cheval Blanc, they were shown the whole production process from vine to vin. This is the 1990 vintage, which is currently being sucked rather inelegantly from the barrels where it spent the last 2 years to be bottled and sent for sale. After the French, the British drink more Bordeaux than anyone in the world. Although at £50 a bottle, a case of Cheval Blanc 1990 is a £600 investment. After their free taste, meanwhile, the Americans, strong of leg and slightly jaded of palate, are off in search of the day's second chateau.
Well, thanks, Gary. Well, I can tell you right now, the gentleman sitting alongside me won't be drinking too much wine while he's in the Bordeaux region, and that's Andy Hampson of the Motorola team, because Andy's just finished and quite happy with the way the Motorola boys have ridden. At the moment, the overall situation is Gatorade are home with the best time, 1 hour, 13 minutes, 36 seconds. In second place, 26 seconds behind, is the Once team, and that, of course, is the team of Alex Zula, we featured in our programme the other day. And Motorola are in third place. Andy, quite content with that ride at the moment?
Yeah, I'm happy. We have a strong team. The other teams are also very strong, and it's really hard getting 9 guys to be riding perfectly, but I'm very happy with the way we worked out.
Well, we're watching Panasonic. They have gone through the last check on the road of 41.5 kilometres with the second best time. They're in fact 4 seconds slower than Carrera, but they are in fact catching up the Carrera team. But any particular problems with the wind out there today?
No, it was actually quite calm today. We had more problems just paying attention on the hills, not to go too hard there, and we really weren't thrown around the road by the wind at all.
As we go back to the finish now for the arrival of maybe not the fastest team today, but certainly the most interesting one, Benesto. And at the moment, their time is quicker than Gatorade, but there's still a little way to go to the line. You see they've lost one rider on the run-in. His work is done. because the time is taken on the 5th man to cross the finishing line. And so they'll use their men to their full. Jean-Francois Bernard of France is still towing this team up towards the line. The strong man they took over from France to the Spanish team. He's here purely to make sure Indurain wins this Tour de France. And now he's done his fair share of the pacemaking. Now it's up to Indurain to finish it off as they come up towards the line. This will be a most interesting time indeed. Gatorade, 1 hour, 13 minutes and 36 seconds. They've given a little bit of time away to Gianni Bugno today, Indurain. It won't be significant, or will it? A few seconds indeed. 1:13.59, 1:14. This is a big time difference, Paul.
Well, it is. It's a big time difference because this morning Gianni Bugno was only 2 seconds behind Miguel Indurain, and Indurain said he was worried about time that he could lose in this team time trial today. With 29 seconds off the leaderboard, it could be a significant time loss for Indurain.
So the Carrera team further down the road now with the Banesto team in, having conceded time today. Indurain losing time to Gianni Bugno. Now, what about little Claudio Chiappucci, number 21? You can just see him halfway up the line to the left of our picture. He is the leader of this team. And if this team gets the time that they're threatening, then he too is going to gain time on Indurain today. But while we remember that, let's go down to the Z team now as they come home with Greg LeMond. They're fighting for a good time, and it's going to be a good time too, so the big teams are not conceding too much today in the team time trial to one another directly anyway. 1:13.08 and counting. The best team is the Gianni Bugno squad, Gatorade, 1:13.36.
Well, as I said, Zed always starts off very slowly and speed up towards the end. They're not going to beat the time of Gatorade, but they may well be in around the same time as Miguel Indurain's Banesto team.
And that would do very nicely. Greg might be a little bit disappointed if he doesn't beat them. He looks over his shoulder there, makes sure the line's together. Remember, it's no good ripping away from the team. It's the 5th man when the clock stops. You can finish a week in front if you wish. It won't make any difference. Greg making sure the team was nice and tight as they came off that bend and waved them through. He says, come on, the final effort, this is it. Go for it. And LeMond puts his head down, looks up, sees the banner, back goes the head, down again. The team now coming right up to the line. It's a good ride by Zed. 1:13.55, second at the moment, and congratulations all round.
They're very happy with that time. They're 19 seconds off the top of Gatorade team, but it brings back 10 seconds on the Banesto team, so it's bringing Greg that little bit closer to Miguel Indurain.
Superb finish for the big boys. Olaf and Ludwig bringing home the Panasonics now, and they're certainly the best time when they hit the line. They'll have to hang on though and see if Carrera continue to annoy them at the top of the leaderboard as they did at 41 kilometers. But the Panasonic team, once when they were known as the TI Rally McGregor team, always looked after by Peter Post, they used to rule the roost and never lose a team time trial. Now is the big return for them. Panasonic, their team splitting up in the running, but their top 5 will stay together for sure for the time. And it's going to be a very, very good best time too, and it will take some beating, I'm sure of that, as they come up to the line now. The Panasonics are going to record about 1:13.15 on the line. 1:13.15 it is, best time for the Panasonics. And this is the team who have led so far today in the team time trial stage of the Tour de France at every checkpoint, but they've been losing ground at each checkpoint to Panasonics. It's all the question now, Paul, as to how they hang on over these last few kilometres. Here's the situation now at the finishing line. And with the Carrera team still to come home, Panasonic's leading by 1 hour, 13 minutes, 15 seconds ahead of Gatorade, 21 seconds. The significant thing here is the difference between the Gatorade and the Z team, which is 19 seconds, because that's the difference that Greg LeMond has lost to Gianni Bugno on the stage today. Here's the RMO, and we're now seeing the yellow jersey of Pascal Lino. We won't know till he gets to the finish whether or not he'll be wearing that jersey tonight, because the teams have come in with some superb times and very high average speeds indeed, well in excess of 51 kilometers an hour, which is a tremendous average speed today. 1 kilometer to go for Carrera. They've let one of the riders, Chiesa, be dropped now, but they only need 5 for the time, and that's what they're thinking of, and it's going to be desperately close to Panasonic at 41.5 kilometers. Panasonic were 4 seconds slower than Carrera, I doubt whether Carrera would know that, but right now Carrera being driven home by the demon from Tashkent. Abdu Japarov bringing him round the corner now and going for the line. This is going to be a very, very close time indeed.
It's going to go all the way. This is a very long finishing straight. They can see it. They'll know roughly what they have to do. The team manager will have shouted through his microphone there, and I think coming to the front now.
Guido Bontempi, as his ball is coming up to the front, and Stephen Roach is in there too, and Chiappucci hanging on, making sure he's in that group, no question about that. 1:13.15. This is going to be a superbly tight finish. How can they do it over such a distance? Carrera, this will be a tremendous victory for them. You know, they won it in the team time trial in Berlin a while back, but it's not going to be today as they come up to the line. A 4 seconds victory margin at 41 kilometers, now converted to a 7 seconds deficit here at the finishing line. 1:13.22 for the Carrera, and Stephen Roach and Abdu Japarov and indeed Chiappucci will be delighted with that. And this is the team that everybody has their sights on today, and all of the big names have struck home and taken time off RMO, including Stephen Roach and Claudio Chiappucci's Carrera team, which is significant today. The yellow jersey of Pascal Lino will probably still stay on his shoulders, but he will lose some of his lead today. RMO outside the time of Panasonic, the best team, but more significantly also outside the times of Benesto, of Gatorade, and indeed of Carrera as they come to the line. 1 hour, and it'll be over 15 minutes, even despite the final effort. They're very nervous to make sure the yellow jersey is in that group as they look over the shoulder. 1 hour 15, only 13th place. They lose 1 minute 45 seconds. So Richard Virenque has come very close indeed to losing his second place overall. But I think when we see the classification, at least the same two men will still be at the top today, but the gaps have come down. And here's the result confirmed. A win for Panasonic ahead of Carrera, Gatorade and Zed. Significantly, Benesto not in the frame. And so the Panasonic team return to the kings of team time trialing once again in the Tour de France. Now there are significant changes overall. Still in the lead, Pascal Lino with 1 minute 54 seconds ahead of Richard Virenque. But in third place now is Gianni Bugno, 5 minutes 6 seconds back. Claudio Chiappucci is fourth, and Stephen Roach is up to fifth place. It was a very happy Stephen Roach who spoke to Paul Sherwin.
Yeah, I've been riding very consistent all year, and since I rode the Tour of Spain I've been getting better and better. But you know, I have this little problem with my back. It's not getting any better, but I'm kind of looking after myself every day. But it's a little handicap, but I'm very, very happy with the condition I have.
You must be looking forward towards getting to the mountains. You know, you've not got too much pressure this year. You've got other riders in the team who are taking the pressure, like Chiappucci. You've got Abdu Japarov on the flat stages. Do you think we might see a Stephen Roach that we saw a few years ago in 1987?
Well, Stephen Roach is still the same with a few grey hairs extra, but the condition is better now than it has been since '87, so anything can happen. I think the level between myself and Duran is not that great. That if I can get lucky someday, maybe I can get a lucky break, maybe.
So Stephen Roach back in the frame as well in this year's Tour. Let's have a look further down now at the changes. In sixth place now is Miguel Indurain, 7 Giancarlo Perini, Eddie Boumans and Dmitry Zhenenov. The other name we should note, Greg LeMond in 12th position. A reminder about our Tour de France competition. You can win yourself a yellow jersey as that worn by the leader of this tour if you can name correctly the winner of Sunday's stage of the Tour de France between Valkenburg and Koblenz. Entries on a postcard to reach us by this Saturday to this address. Fortel, Tour de France competition, 142 Lower Marsh, London, SE1 7AE. And the headlines today, well, Stephen Roach makes his return towards the leadership of the Tour de France. Miguel Indurain, the big favourite, loses time. Gianni Bugno is there, and Panasonic win the stage. You know, it's only 1 o'clock here in Libourne. The sun is still shining. I've got a fair idea what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. Goodbye.